Alright, so here's the classical intro of the song. Now, I'm playing this on an electric guitar simply because I have my condenser mic picking up my amp, so you're going to be able to hear it a lot better than if I were to use an acoustic, okay? But obviously the song's played on an acoustic guitar, so whatever I teach you here, just go and play it on acoustic. It's standard tuning, you know, standard guitar, nothing special about it. But anyway, this is broken into 8 different parts, and realize that parts 1, 3, and 5 are the same. Okay, so she kind of keeps going back to the first phrase every other time, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So anyway, the way this starts out is it only has this one little introduction riff one time, okay, and that is. Alright, so she only does that once, and basically what that is now, first of all, if you're on YouTube, just kind of watch what I'm doing. I may move kind of quick, so you can always rewind, but if you're on the website, you're going to have the tabs on the screen, so it's going to be a lot easier to follow what I'm doing, okay? But if you're on YouTube, I'm going to try my best to explain what I'm doing, alright? So anyway, it goes from a 2 to a 4 on the G string, and then you kind of grab the 3rd fret of the B string, and then you slide that shape down 2 frets, and then you take it off for an open. And then as soon as you do that, you go double hit on the A, open A string. Alright, and now that's the start of the phrases, okay? So, alright, and that is 3, 1 open on the B string, and then 2 on the G string. And then it hits the A string again one more time, and then it slides from the 2 to the 4 on the D string, so 2 to the 4 on the D string, and then open G string, and then after you hit the open G string, hit the open A again twice. Okay, and so this is all depicted in the tabs, so it's a lot harder to explain than it is to simply read the tabs. So if you're watching it from the website, it's a lot easier, okay? So that's where we're at now. After he does that double hit on the A, or after she does that double hit on the A, it changes to something different every time. So this time it's double 4 on the D and the G, double 5, and then double open, and then double 2, all on the D and the G. And see how I'm fitting that A string in there? You just kind of got to get the feel of where that A string falls in every time, okay? It's accurately depicted by the tabs, but trying to explain exactly where that A string lands, it's just kind of, it's just a rhythmic thing. It just keeps going. So far we have. Okay. Back to that again, and again it does the little slide on the D string, and then another double hit on the A. So now after that double hit on the A, remember I said it changes every time after that double hit. So now this time it goes, it does all that. So how that's done is 3, 2, 2, 3rd fret on the A, 2nd fret on the D, 2nd fret on the G, and then just a 2-1 on the A and the G. And then you hit an open E string. And then 5-4 on the A and G. Then open E. Then 4-2 on the A and G. Then open E. Then a 2-1 on the A and G, only you don't hit the 2-1 right away, you kind of hammer onto the 1, so. Alright, and then the ending of this phrase is, it's open E, and then it's. Alright, so that is you're grabbing the 3rd fret of the E string with your middle finger. You're plucking the E, D, and G strings, and you're doing a 4-2 open on the G. Alright, so this whole phrase is. Okay, and then it starts over again, doing how all these phrases start. Alright, and then this time it does the same thing as the first one. Okay, and now the 4th one is slightly different again, so it's. Alright, now what that is basically it's an A minor chord but shifted up 2 frets. So you're just taking the same notes of the A minor chord, shifted up 2 frets. So you're on the 3rd fret of the B, you're on the 4th fret of the G, and the 4th fret of the D. Alright, so the way it goes is. How I said you always get that double A in there, that little slide then double A before it changes the phrase. Alright, so I'm just going, and I'm going G, D, A, and then B, G, D strings. Grabs a 5 on the, a 3rd fret of the B string and the 5th fret of the E string, just like a power chord, and then you're just grabbing the 3 open strings, B, G, and D, and then a harmonic on the E, B, and G strings. So this whole phrase is. Okay, that's the 4th one. Now the 5th one does the same thing as what the first one did. Okay, and now it's going to be another one, a new one for the 6th one. Alright, you get that double A. Now it's 5-5-4 on the E, A, and D, and then 3-3-2 on the E, A, and D. So this is. Okay. Then again, it goes back to the. And now the last one is. And now it goes to a. Take your 3rd finger put it on the 3rd fret of the low E, and go. Hit the low E string, then you hit the open G string, then you hit the open E string. Alright, and it's going to sound like this. So it's the 3rd fret of the E string, then the open G, then the open E, then 3-1 open on the B string, and then 2 open on the G string. And then after it does that, it goes to a so basically the upper strings are the same things we've been doing. You're doing the 3-1 open on the B, then a 2 on the G, and then a 1-2 on the B and G. Only now your bass note is the 2nd fret of the low E. And then you end this phrase by lifting up your 3rd finger of the G string and just hitting the 2 on the low E, and then hitting the open G. So. Alright, and this ends by hitting an open E major chord. Alright, so the open E major chord, basically just doing a series of 2 strings going like this. Alright, so you're holding the E major chord the whole time, and now you're doing the E and the G together. Alright, and that's separated by 2 strings. Now all the rest are only separated by 1 string. So, and now you're doing the A and G together, then the D and B together, then the G and E together, then the D and B together, then the A and G together. So it's. Alright, now it goes into. Alright, so basically what that is you can either hit the open D and the 6th fret of the B at the same time, or you can kind of stagger them a little bit. Or, I like to stagger them a little bit. It sounds a little cooler, I think. But either one will work. Alright, so, and then you do a 5-6 hammer on the 5-6 hammer pull on the B string, and then open B string, and then 5 on the G, and then open high E, 3 on the B, then 5-4 on the G, 6 on the D, then open E. Okay, and that ends the whole thing. Alright, now it goes right into the. Alright, so now I'm going to play the whole thing on my looper pedal using a metronome, so you can hear how it all goes together and how it fits in time, okay? the 4/4 timing. So, I just turn the metronome off and it's. And it goes back into. Okay, so I realized that wasn't the prettiest. I realized that I'm not the best classical guitar player. Finger style is not my forte, but I made sure to learn it correctly, and I made sure to get it timed correctly, because those are the important things in order to present a lesson. Okay, so I guess you could just keep watching this over and over and practice your timing, and hopefully you get it down to be a lot smoother than the way I play it. But my right hand is just sloppy when it comes to finger style playing, so I apologize about that, but that's how you play the intro. Now the rest of the song is very accurate, so follow along with the rest of the song. Alright, so this is the chorus of the song, which is also the intro of the song after that whole classical thing that she does in the very beginning. So the song starts out this way, and it also keeps going back to this throughout every chorus. Okay, so let me give you the rhythm first, and then I'll give you the leads. Alright, so if you're watching this from YouTube, you don't have the chord diagrams and the tabs on the screen. If you're watching this from the website, just follow along the with the tabs and the diagrams and all that. If you're on YouTube, just watch what I'm doing. So anyway, basically the chords are just an A minor chord, and then an F major chord. So you can either do the F major chord like this, the 4-string way, or you can do the full F major bar chord. Alright, it kind of keeps going back and forth between the A minor and the F, and then it goes to a G major. Okay? So the way that the rhythm sounds is, just from the intro without the lead, she kind of does 2 A minors to Fs by herself, and then the lead kicks in. So the whole rhythm would be like this. It ends on the A minor, and then it goes into the verse. Alright, so that's pretty straightforward. That's the rhythm. Now what the lead does is basically, the lead's not too complicated. Just follow along with the tabs if you're on the website. Even if you're on YouTube, it's not that bad. So let me put on the distortion here so I can show you how this sounds. So basically the way the lead sounds is it starts out with an open A string. And then it goes to a 2nd fret of the D string, then open D string, then 3/2 open on the A, then the 1st fret of the E string. Okay, so it's. And then before going back to repeat that, it starts off on the 3rd fret of the E string, which is the note G. So it's. And then the last time, when the rhythm switches to the G, the lead kind of follows that, so it goes and it hits the 3rd fret of the E string, because that's the underlying rhythm is the G chord, and then it does it again, but it lands on the F the 2nd time. So it's. Okay, so the last time before the very final part of this phrase, it doesn't hit that open A string, so it just goes. And then it goes right into the verse. So the whole lead altogether sounds like this. And then goes into the verse. Alright, so I have the I have this stored in my looper pedal, so played over top of the rhythm, it sounds like this. Alright, so the end of the lead actually occurs just on that note G. Okay, so it's, and then he lets the rhythm guitar take over for the verse. Alright, so that's pretty straightforward. That's the intro after the classical intro, of course, and that is what they keep going back to for all the choruses. Okay, so the next part we're going to get to is the verse. Alright, so this is the verse, and this goes basically in this section. I'm going to show you the verse, which is just 4 chords, and then it goes into the pre-chorus, which is that. Goes into that, so that's, I guess you could call it the pre-chorus. So the verse basically is just an A minor chord, and then it goes to a C major chord, and then it goes to a D minor 7 chord, and then it goes to an E7 chord. Okay, so if you're watching this from my website, just follow the chord diagrams. If you're watching this from YouTube, I'll play the chords one more time for you. A minor, C major, D minor 7, E7. So the verse goes. So it does that twice around that chord progression, and then it goes before it does that little fill. So basically all that is this is an A minor chord played up on the 12th, 13th, and 14th fret. So 12th fret E string, 13th fret B string, 14th fret G string. And then he moves to it's just a D major chord, which is the same as your D chord down here, only it's played an octave higher. Okay? And you play this with your first finger barring the 14th fret of the E, B, and G strings. Oops, and then you have your middle finger down on the 15th fret of the B string to make it a D major chord. And now this little riff that he does, simply he holds that D major chord the whole time and he goes. So he's just kind of using this pinky to hit the 17th and then pull off on the E string, and then hit the 17th of the B string and then pull off. But in between each one, he also goes and he plucks the G string, so he goes. Alright, and the last one is just kind of just an upstroke on the D chord. Alright, and I like to practice this type of stuff with a metronome. So I have my loop pedal metronome here, and so basically it's just gonna, you'll hear it. Alright, so this starts on the downbeat, and then the little pull-off start on the upbeat. Okay, so that's that. And then it goes into a chord progression, which is an F to a G to a C to an F to a D minor 7 to an E7. Alright, so we already did all those chords previously, so basically it's. And then it goes back into the chorus, which is the last section, okay? Okay, so far what we went over in the song has been the intro of the whole song, and then we went over the chorus, which is also kind of like an intro after the classical guitar part, and then we went over the verse into the pre-chorus. All right, so basically it does a verse, pre-chorus, then a chorus. Then it does another verse, then the pre-chorus, and then another chorus. So now we're at the bridge of the song. So you could call this the bridge or the interlude, whatever you want to call it. And the cool thing about this is it's actually doing a key change from the key of A minor, which is what the song was in previously, to the key of A major. All right. So all these chords that I'm about to show you are all in the key of A major. All right. So the first chord is an F sharp minor 7 chord, so it's a bar chord. The next chord is a B minor 7. Then a C sharp minor 7. Then a D major chord. And then back to the C sharp minor 7 again. Then back to the D major. Back to the C sharp minor 7. Then back to the B minor 7. Okay, and then it goes to the A major chord. And as the A major chord's occurring, the lead guitar comes in and does another one of those similar riffs to what we just went over in the last section. It's similar but not the same, but I'll get to that in a second. So the whole thing goes like this. So as that A major chord's occurring, then this part comes in. All right, so I'm going to try and explain it to those of you who are watching on YouTube, but it's a lot easier to just follow the tabs. Obviously, if you're watching this from my website, they're on the screen. So the way this goes is you basically bar the 14th fret of the B and the G string with your first finger, and you start out with a little hammer pull from the 14 to the 15 on the B. So after the hammer pull, you hit the G string. Okay, so you do that. And then you do a 17 on the B string, pull off, and then hit the G string. Then you do a 19, and then pull off, and then hit the G string. Then back down to the 17. Then another hammer pull. Then back up to the 17. Then to the 19, then back to the 17, then a final hammer pull, and that's just. Okay, so it goes around twice. So that's occurring as the A minor chord is occurring, or I'm sorry, that's occurring as the A major chord is occurring in the rhythm section. All right. Alright, and after it does that, then it kind of builds up on an E7 again. Then it goes back into the chorus again. Alright, so that's basically your bridge interlude section, alright? So I would say probably the most difficult thing about this is, again, starting this on the upbeat, just as we did in the previous section. So it doesn't start on the downbeat. So if you're using a metronome on the 4, let me just play this for you. 1, 2. That's the downbeat. That's the downbeat. You want to start on the upbeat. So it's. Okay, so you see how it's not occurring on the downbeat, so it's going 1 and then it starts. So it's in between the 1 and the 2, which is the upbeat, in case you don't know what upbeat means. So that's that. One more thing to note, which I'll also be explaining once we get to this section, is the next section is the solo section, which has harmonized guitar solos. But then the section after that is another sort of guitar solo. So we're going to call that solo section 2. And that second solo also occurs over the rhythm of the bridge. So that the F sharp minor 7 to the B minor 7 to the C sharp minor 7 to the D, to that same progression that we just did, that's what the next solo section, or the second solo section, occurs over. So we'll get to that, and I'll have the tabs and the chord diagrams displaying on the screen so you can follow along with both the rhythms and the lead. So with that said, let's get to the solos. Alright, so after the bridge you have another verse, and then it goes into another chorus, and then this chorus is actually kind of extended because there's a solo that's going on, and that's what I'm about to show you now. So first I'm going to show you, this is a harmonized solo. So first I'm going to show you the first guitar part, and then in the next section I'm going to show you the second guitar part, and then I'm going to play both guitar parts together, harmonized, so you can hear what they both sound like together. And then basically there's a third solo section which is played over the bridge rhythm. Okay, so that'll be after all that. But anyway, so the this solo takes place over the chorus rhythm. Okay, so the chords that are going. Okay, so it's doing that, and also one guitar is also going. Okay, so during that, I actually have that stored in my looper pedal here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how the solo sounds over top of that rhythm, because that's the rhythm that's played over. Alright, so the way this works is, if you're watching it from my website, follow the tabs, because the tabs are accurate. I checked them multiple times. Basically, it starts out with a bend on the 15th fret of the B string, so it goes. So it bends up on the 15th fret of the B string, and then it goes down to the 13th of the B string. So that's a full bend on the 15, alright, so you're bending all the way to the note of the 17. Alright, so it does that twice, and then it does a half step bend on the 12th fret of the B string. And then it does a whole step bend on the 10th fret of the B string, but it's a fast bend release, so it's. So far we have. And the ending of this phrase is. So it's 10, 12, then a half step bend on the 12th. Okay, so played over top of the looped rhythm we have. Okay, so that is the first guitar part. Alright, so I think I actually may have played the very beginning of it, not wrong notes, but I forgot to mention that I think it actually comes in on the upbeat. Okay, so it's starting on that 15th fret bend, it's. Okay, instead of. Either way, it's not going to sound terrible, but I think the track is, it starts on the upbeat, so it's, and then once you're on the 12, then it's on the downbeat again, so it's. So that is the first guitar part. Now the second guitar part does exactly the same thing, the same rhythms, the same everything, only it's harmonizing with the first guitar part, which I just showed you, and I'm going to show you that in the next section. Alright, so here's the second guitar part, the harmonized guitar part for this first solo, okay? So the main thing you need to pay attention to is, actually in both guitar parts, would be whether it's a full step bend or a half step bend. So with this guitar part I'm about to show you, it's all full step bends, but in the last section, in the last guitar part, there's a few half step bends, okay? So make sure that when you're doing these bends, you're doing them correctly, okay? Because if you do a half step when you're supposed to do a full, or vice versa, it's going to mess up the harmony, okay? So, you know, of course, if you're on YouTube, I just kind of explained it to you, but if you're watching it from the website, the tabs will tell you if it's a full or half step bend, so make sure you pay attention to that aspect, okay? So with that said, the rhythm and everything else is the same, it's just you're playing it slightly differently because it's the harmony part. Alright, so this starts out again, starts out with the upbeat thing. So the first one is a bend on the 15th fret of the G string, and again it starts on the upbeat. So full step, as I said, and then you do that again. You do that twice, and then it comes down to the 12th fret. Now this time it's a full step bend. And the previous guitar part, it was only a half step bend on the 12th fret of the B string. Now you're doing a full step bend on the 12th fret of the G string, okay? And this starts on the downbeat. Okay, and then you do another bend release on the 10th fret, a fast one. And then 10, 12, and then a bend on the 12th. Okay, so far, what we have, I have the rhythm and the other guitar parts stored on my looper pedal. So far what we have is okay. So that is that. That's just simple harmony. Everything was a full step bend. Alright. Now we move up to this, which is, okay, so this time it's 16 on the G, 13 on the B, and then 14 on the G. So it's, and then 16 on the G, 13 on the B, and then now everything else takes place on the B string. So 15, 17, 13. Alright, and then you're at 15, and then you bend to 15. Alright, then you go 17, 20, then a full step of a 18 bend, and then 17, and then a bend release on the 18, and then 18, 20, and then end on a 20 bend. So you have okay. Now keep in mind that 20 is a full step bend. As I said, everything in this guitar part is a full step. Whereas in the last part, you ended on the 19th fret of the high E, but that was only a half step bend. This one's ending on the 20th fret of the B string, full step. Okay, so I'm going to play the whole thing with the looped rhythm, and you're going to hear how both guitar parts harmonize with one another. nicely together. So the rhythm's the same, all the bends take place at the same time. Everything's the same except it's just the lower guitar harmony. Alright, so that's basically that. So just follow the tabs, do what the tabs say, follow along with the video, listen to the song. That's that. Alright, so now we're going to get on to the next solo section which just has one guitar part. It doesn't have any dueling harmonies or anything like that. Okay, so here's solo number 2. Alright, so this solo is, it's not a harmonized solo like the last one. It's just a single guitar playing over top of acoustic rhythm. Excuse me. And the acoustic rhythm that it's playing over is the same thing that we did in the bridge. Okay, it has that the F sharp minor 7, and then to the B minor 7, to a C sharp minor 7, to a D major, to a C sharp minor 7, and it ends on the A major. Okay? Alright, and as the A major is occurring, again it goes back into that little kind of messed it up there, but that's the part we already went over, okay? And so I'm going to play the whole thing for you. I'm going to play that part and you'll see how it all fits together. Okay, so what we have for this solo is basically it's a series of two string runs with a slide in each run, okay? So it just does 2 strings at a time. So you just kind of got to memorize the patterns that's going on, or if you happen to know your scales, you know what the key of A major is. So you just know that you're in the key of A major now. Okay, so that's the first one. So it's 2 4 5 on the low E, then 2 4 5 on the A, then you slide to the 7 and then land on the 5 of the A. So it's the second one is on the A and the D string. So this is 4 5 7 4 6 7, slide to the 9, land on the 7 of the D. So it's alright, so far the 2 of them together are alright. So that's the 2 of them. Now you have the third one, which takes place on the D and the G string. So this is so this is 6 7 9, and then 6 7, slide to the 9, then back down to the 7 on the G string. All right, so all 3 of them together is. So that is 6 7 9 on the G string, and then 7 9, then slide all the way up to the 12 and land on the 10 of the B string. Okay, so that's all of them, and then it does a little bend thing. So let me show you all 4 at once. By doing a bend on the 10 of the B string, full bend, catch the 10 of the high E, and then a release of the 10. And it does that twice. Okay, and then that's the end of this solo. And then it goes back into the. So again, it's. The part which we already did. I'll show you that right now. So I have this I have this looped rhythm, which is the rhythm I just explained to you. So I'm going to play the whole thing. It's a little slower and it has a metronome to it, so you can kind of see how it fits in the 4/4 time signature. So it goes. Okay, and then it goes back into that. So, after all said and done, the whole thing ends on 2 measures of the. Well, first it's the E major chord. So it's an E major chord to an E7 chord. 1 measure of the E major chord, and then you lift out your 3rd finger to make it an E7 chord. Then right back into the main riff, the chorus riff. Okay? And then the song ends with that. So we already went over that in the beginning. So that is the final solo, and that is actually the entire song. So, if I missed anything or if I overlooked anything, feel free to contact me. I'm pretty sure I got it all right. I double and triple checked all my tabs to make sure everything was correct. So, I'm pretty sure everything's right, but, everyone makes mistakes. So if I did make a mistake, feel free to hit me up and I will answer any questions you have. Thanks a lot.